Entitled sister wants custody of my baby. Background, me 36 female, sister-in-law 40 female. I've been married to her brother for over 10 years, and there's always been some jealousy and resentment from her. She's always felt like I had the life she wanted, not necessarily with her brother, but the marriage, family, job stability, etc. I have 3 kids, 10 female, 8 male, 3 months female. She got married last year and they decided to start trying for a baby, but she was unfortunately told that she can't have children naturally. She was understandably devastated and the family comforted her as best as we could. We recently had a family dinner and in the middle of it she says, Angel 698, I think it's really unfair that you got to have 3 kids and I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child, so I think you should give her to me during the week so I can create a motherly bond with her and you can have her on weekends. Before I could respond, the entire table erupted with everyone talking at once, so I took my older kids upstairs. When I got back to the dining room, her husband was asking what the hell is wrong with her and why would she even think to ask that. She was trying to justify herself when I asked them to leave. I also said that she's no longer welcomed at my house or around my children until she gets help. She started screaming that I don't deserve my life or my children and that I stole her baby from her. Her husband and mother-in-law kept apologizing and dragged her out of the house still crying and screaming. Now my kids want to know why their aunt wants to take the baby. Edit. I've been reading the comments, but it's too many to reply to, so here are a few points. We have a security system and cameras already installed and no one has keys to our house. I will not be able to get a restraining order as this one incident isn't enough to justify it. My husband and I spoke to the older kids about it the same night and we'll be having another talk with them to reinforce that SIL is not a safe person anymore. Our country does not have the right to bear arms, and I also have no interest in getting a gun. I'll be informing the school and daycare of the issue and giving them her photo. For those questioning the validity of the post, I completely understand. If I had heard about this last week, I wouldn't believe it either, but it's unfortunately the situation I'm currently dealing with. Now, for the update. So my sister-in-law has been admitted to a psychiatric facility. In the comments of my previous post, I mentioned that her husband was seeking out counseling for them to deal with the infertility prior to this incident. After the incident, he sought out a psychiatrist rather than a counselor and they had their first session last week. I didn't get the specifics of what happened, but basically she made some statements that the psychiatrist felt indicated she was a danger to others, my baby and me, and she was placed under an involuntary hold. My brother-in-law has been nothing but apologetic through this entire deal, and he kept her away from us since the incident. Mother-in-law was staying with them to keep an eye on sister-in-law. She tried to leave the house in the middle of the night to see her baby. Also, brother-in-law found her researching how to induce lactation, and she said it was to make sure she can feed the baby properly when I come to my senses and give her up. From what brother-in-law has said, seeing me breastfeed is apparently what triggered the entire episode. It was the first time sister-in-law was around the baby for any length of time, and she was holding her when she got fussy because she was hungry. Naturally, I took her to feed her, and this made sister-in-law feel inadequate because it triggered the thought that she would never be able to do that, which led to the events of the last post. I'm grateful for all the advice that was offered on my last post, as some of it was really helpful. We won't be moving as it's not feasible for us at the moment, but we have taken extra steps with security both at home and at the kids' school/daycare. This whole thing is taking a toll on the family, but mother-in-law, father-in-law and brother-in-law are taking care of sister-in-law, and my husband and I are focused on ensuring the safety of our immediate family and minimizing the effect on the kids as much as we can. Neighbor of property I work at yells at me, then tries to get free work service. I own a small landscaping business with my husband. This morning we show up to our job with our truck and trailer for a day of weeding at a long-neglected property. It's trash day in the neighborhood, and in order to back the trailer and I have to get out of the truck to move 2 garbage cans that are in the way. I move them both 1 foot off of the road with the intention of moving them back afterwards. I assumed they were out in the road for visibility purposes. I then move to behind the trailer and guide my husband into the parking spot. It's very narrow. Husband gets out of the truck and we both look at the ocean as the waves are massive due to an impending storm, at least 10 feet high. Surfers are wiping out all over the place and it's quite a sight. I counted over 60 surfers on my lunch break. 10 dang seconds into looking at the ocean, the neighbor comes out screaming at us about how the garbage truck driver can't see the cans and asked what the hell am I doing. When I say he was screaming, I mean screaming. This guy chose violence and was looking to intimidate. I calmly responded that I was about to move the cans back, I was just looking at the ocean first. He seemed slightly embarrassed and muttered something like, "I'll move them, don't bother." 1 hour later, this guy catches my husband going to the truck and asks if he can put his lawn clippings in our trailer and take them to dump with our other debris. No apology, no introductions, and like nothing had happened. My husband was taken aback in the moment and said yes, even though this is something we charge for. 30 minutes after that he walks onto the property we are working at and says he just pruned a juniper and asked if he can put those clippings in there too. I respond, "Sure, if you throw us a 20. He laughs and says, "Are you kidding, you're going to the dump anyway, right?" To which I respond, "Yes, and not only do they charge us by weight, but this is our job and taking debris to the dump is a service we offer, we'll do it for $20. He laughs again and says, "They charge by weight. My debris weighs nothing." He huffs off and comes back with the $20. He was so mad, wouldn't even look at me when he handed the money over. My guess, he thought we'd just say yes, and he'd already cut the juniper before asking, then didn't have a way of getting rid of it. Couldn't put it in one of his 2 BMWs and didn't want it laying around his $4 million beach house. Another short while later, he catches my husband and tries to find out which dump we go to because the one he suspects we go to doesn't charge by weight. Wrong dump, and also, it doesn't matter. We charge what we charge. My guy, you don't have to say yes to us taking your debris. We decide our rates, and this is what we charge, take it or leave it. You came to us, we're not going door to door asking for people's yard clippings. There is a minimum charge of $25 at the dump, no matter how much you have. Just save the $5 and the trip to the dump and leave us the hell alone.